Hello and good morning students, and welcome back again to Mehta PG College online study portal. And today this is the lecture 5th recorded for BSc first year physics for the paper first mechanics, although it has been recorded for the unit first, but it's for the lecture second, for the chapter second here. Okay, so before starting the video, if you are new here, then please go and subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you will never miss another update from us. You can also give a thumbs up to this video, and your appreciation will appreciate us to give you more effective and more interesting content day by day. Okay, so let's start the video here. In the previous lecture, we have talked about the horizontal effect of Coriolis force. Yes, the Coriolis force effect on the particles which are moving horizontally. So now we will talk about the vertical case here, and for the vertical scenario, for the vertical case, we will talk about two scenarios here. The first one is the scenario when the particles is being falling from upward, and the second scenario is when you throw a particle upward and then it fall back towards the earth. So within these two scenarios, let's talk about the first one, in which we talk about the effect of Coriolis force on the bodies falling downward, falling vertically downward on the earth. Okay, so let's start here saying the effect of Coriolis force on body is falling vertically downward on earth. The effect of Coriolis force on bodies falling vertically downwards. Okay, for this scenario, let's consider that if something is being placed at a height here, for example, we will got the figure here also, but let me give you an assignation saying that if this particular object is here and it is falling vertically downward, so what happens exactly? So this is it, it is here and it is falling towards the earth here, and you say that the vertical axis at the z axis, okay, so the vertical axis has been taken in sense as the z axis here. Let's say the axial representation, this is the x axis for sure, and this is the z axis, and this is the y axis here. Okay, so for the z axis, you can say that the unit vector associated, you can say the unit vector as the k cap here. Okay, so the k cap is the unit vector which has been associated with the particle. For the Coriolis force components, we will take the unit vector saying as the k dash cap, because we do not want to intersect or we do not want to interrupt the results which are being observed for the displacement vector saying the r vector, which is being equals to having the component saying as the I cap and the j cap and the k cap component. So that's why let's take it as the k dash cap. Okay, so if anything that is here, this is the z axis and it is falling vertically downward, so in which direction it has been traveling? It is traveling in the negative z direction. Okay, from the positive z direction towards the negative z direction. If anything that is being moved towards the negative direction, so we can take the displacement in case of the velocity vector here saying the negative of k cap. Okay, the velocity will be associated in the terms saying for the negative z axis here. Okay, the particle is here and is falling vertically downward there. Okay, so let's begin with the mathematical calculus a little bit. We do not need it any longer, although we have a figure here, but the figure will certainly different from than that of it. Okay, the body of mass m, if the body of mass m is falling from a height h, and falling due to what? Due to gravity. Then after t seconds, then after t seconds its velocity will be so what should be the velocity by now? Let's say the velocity is the v dash here, and according to the figure that we have been taken into consideration as an example, you can say that the particle will go for the negative z direction. So we can say that this will be equals to the minus k dash gt, where g is the acceleration due to gravity and t is the time here. So not the acceleration but the displacement due to gravity here. Okay, g is the gravitational force here. Okay, where k dash cap is the unit vector vertically upward. What is it? It is the unit vector which is vertically upward. So let's take in sense within the figures here. We got some figures to explain our scenario here. Okay, let's say this is the Mother Earth here. And this one must be the line of action, sorry. And for example, let's take our particle at this particular position. Let's say the particle will fall on this position here. Let's say this is the position where the particle will fall. This must be the direction of angular velocity here, and this is the direction towards the center of the earth. Let's say the center is at O, and in that side is if the particle is falling here, so this is the v vector here. So what does this direction will represent? This direction will represent the effect of Coriolis force, and for that will be equals to the minus 2 omega cross v dash. This will be the minus 2 omega cross v dash. These are again vector here. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so this is the direction of Coriolis force here. If the particle is falling from this position towards the center, because every time Earth attracts all the things towards its center. Okay, so the particle will fall from a height h towards the center here. This is the general representation here, but we need to get a reference representation. So the reference representation we have is, let's say this is the axis x here, and this is the axis z for example, and let's say this height is the height h by now. This is the height small h. Okay, this is the height small h here. But what will happen? This Coriolis force, the factor which is the minus 2 omega cross v dash, the omega cross v dash, this will get some displacements here. Okay, so this will change the path here. The path will not be the same by now. So what it will be? Let's say a displacement occurs just because of the Coriolis force. Let's say this particle will go to this place, and let's say this is the x dash distance here. Okay, and this is the origin O again. So the particle will get a displacement at x dash distance, because the particle is supposed to be fall from this point and supposed to be reach at this point here. But the Coriolis force is acting in this direction, this particular direction. So the displacement must be into this direction. Okay, so there will be a displacement. This is the actual position. The ZO gives you the actual position, but the displacement is, let's say this is the x dash. The x dash is the displacement by now. Okay, this is something to be considered. Okay, so from the center, let's say the angle of latitude is lambda. This is the latitude here. Let's say the latitude angle is lambda. If the latitude is lambda for the particle which is at this particular point. Let's say the latitude is lambda here, then the angular velocity of rotational reference frame. Also, you know few things about that. Earth will keeps on rotating. Okay, so Earth will keeps on rotating. So the two forces exert here. One of which is due to the rotation of Earth, and the other one is due to the Coriolis force. Every time when you consider the Coriolis force and the rotational force, we do not consider the environmental disturbance there, because every time anything is supposed to be fall from a height h, there must be some environmental disturbance also. Let's say the air disturbance or the denser air from the rarer air to the denser and again to the denser. So these effects we do not consider these effects, we just take that there is no environment in short like this. This whole calculation belongs to the vacuum here. If the latitude is lambda and angular velocity of rotation, angular velocity of rotation is omega, then now we will use the expression for the Coriolis force. The expression for the Coriolis force, for which we talk about the angular velocity. Let's say this is the omega vector. So the omega vector will have the components associated within the direction. Let's say this is the direction for the z, for let's say this is the minus k cap, and for the direction y also, which is belongs to the center O, and for that we will take the component of j cap here. Okay, so that value will be equals to j dash cap omega cos of lambda, j dash cap omega cos of lambda plus k dash cap omega sine of lambda. This is the equation 1 here, and we need this particular equation 2. So let's say we term it as the equation 2 here. So we got two equations here. Okay. Now we will find out the Coriolis force or the Coriolis acceleration which has been acting here. The Coriolis force acting on the body is now the Coriolis force acting on the body is, let's say this is the body here which has been falling, the particle at point P having the mass m falling towards the center of Earth, and the Coriolis force will give you displacement. So the Coriolis force acting on the body is given that, saying that this is the Fc here, and Fc will be given as saying that is equals to minus 2m omega cross v dash. What is v dash here? V dash is the velocity associated with the particle. Okay, v dash has no meanings saying that if the velocity is associated with some sort. No, there is no meanings here. The meaning for v dash is the velocity associated with the particle only. Okay, so now we use the equation 1 and equation 2 and put the values in this equation, where omega is the angular velocity due to the latitude here, and angular velocity of the Earth, which is omega, and v dash is the velocity associated with the particle. So let's find out. This is the minus 2m here, which is constant, so that doesn't go through a vector product. This is only a simple normal scalar product, so that need not to be go through a determinant form. These two should be considered in form of determinants. Both of these has the component saying the k dash cap and the j dash cap and k dash cap. So let's take the I dash cap, j dash cap, k dash cap. For omega, let's say the I dash cap is 0. For j dash cap, we got the omega cos of lambda. For k dash cap, we got here is the omega sine of lambda. For v dash a, we got here, this is 0. The j dash cap is again 0. But the only component that we have is this minus gt here. Okay, so this is the Coriolis force here. Let's calculate the Coriolis force in here somewhat. Well, sorry. Well, I am not going to calculate all of its components, but we will talk about only the main components here. Let's say the minus 2m is constant, and that is the I dash cap will have value saying which is the omega cos of lambda gt. Omega cos of lambda gt. This is the minus here. Okay, the minus sign should be introduced. For the j dash cap, all these values will be 0. So the no component of j dash cap is here. Okay. For the k dash cap, again the components will be 0. So we got only a component which has been associated was the I minus I cap dash, and this is the minus again. So the value of Coriolis force which has been said to be that's represented by the Fc here will be equals to minus minus again get plus here. So that will be equals to saying that the I dash cap, this is 2m gt omega cos of lambda here. So this is the Coriolis force. So we got the direction also here. The direction, it has been said that this is the I dash cap is the direction and the positive I dash cap. So the positive I dash cap represent you that the direction is towards the eastward. Yes, the direction of Coriolis force is eastward here. This is the direction of Coriolis force, and just because it is positive, so it is towards the eastward, and if it was negative, so the direction you can say is towards the westward direction. So this is all the game of direction, and this is the Coriolis force. This Coriolis force is only representing the direction here, and also have some associated magnitude here. This is the associated magnitude. Well, this is the Coriolis force here, but we will talk about also its magnitude form, because we want to know that how much the Coriolis force is being applied on this particle here. This is the particle at let's say this particle was at point P here, and it is falling from point P towards the point O. But what happens exactly? This will go through a certain different path here. Okay. And let's say the angle which has been it's followed here, let's say this angle is theta here, because we will need this angle here or this particular angle or some sort of, you can say this particular angle here. There is the angle theta here. Okay, so this is something to calculate the direction here. I hope that you can get the direction yourself very well, as easier the way as I got it through. So first you take a screenshot for your reference, and then we will proceed with new concepts here which has been associated with the same thing here. Okay, so now you got one thing here, that the particle or the body that is subjected to fall from a height h will get a displacement towards the x direction. Okay, so let's find out that how much the direction, how much the displacement will be here. So I need a workspace, so I think that we do not need it any longer. The main thing, you have to come up with this expression and the expression of angular velocity of the earth, and then it will be fine for you. You can calculate all of these yourself in the same easier way that we have got it through. Okay. So now using the Newton's second law here, yes, we will use the Newton's second law here, because we just want to know the momentum here, and in sense of momentum we just want to know, because we got the value of force here, and we know that the force will equals to the rate of change of momentum, and the momentum is equals to mass into velocity. Okay, that is the product here. So simply we just want to relate the force with the velocity component. Okay, so this is it, why we are using the Newton's second law here. Using Newton's second law. So when we use the Newton's second law, what we will end up having with, we will end up having like m d2 x dash over dt square is equals to 2m gt omega cos of lambda. 2m gt omega cos of lambda. This whole things come out here. Okay, this is the associated magnitude that we have talked about, and the associated magnitude has been put in the form of saying that according to Newton's second law, the rate of change of momentum, or the rate which has been changing here, let's say this is the 2 mgt, and what it is the associated magnitude with the Coriolis force. Okay, So that is it. And now we go through the simple mathematics, saying the m can be cancelled out for the m here. Okay, the m has been cancelled out here. This is the d2x dash over dt square will be equals to 2gt, not the m here, sorry, 2gt omega cos of lambda, 2gt omega cos of lambda. M has been cancelled out, m has been multiplied on both of the directions, so this is the acceleration here. Okay, d2x dash over dt square is the acceleration. So what should be the velocity here? We just simply integrate this equation and we will get the velocity here. Integrating once with respect to time t. Okay, so what happens when you integrate it with respect to time t here? What happens exactly is, this can be written as saying the dx dash over dt is equals to 2g omega cos of lambda. So what it is, this is the velocity here. Okay, the velocity which has been associated with respect to the particle, sorry, the constant c must be written here in the same sense, saying that this is the t square, so the 2 is get divided by the 2 here, so 2 is no longer here, g omega cos of lambda t square plus c here. Okay, where c is the integral constant. Okay, so let's find out the value of c here, because we need the value of this constant so that our calculation will not go any kind of complications here. At t is equals to 0, at t is equals to 0, I mean to say that at initial point, at this height, initially at t is equals to 0, the value of dx dash over dt will be again equals to 0. And if you are going to put these two values, saying that t is equals to 0 and dx dash over dt is equals to 0, so what will be the value of constant c by now? So in the same way, the constant c will be again equals to 0 here. So we got the value of constant c, the constant c is 0 here. Okay, we need some more workspace, so let's clear them off. Okay, so what we end up having? We end up having the dx dash over dt is equals to g omega cos of lambda t square. Okay. Okay, so this is the g omega cos of lambda t square is the component of velocity here. Okay, so we should integrate it again. Integrating again, once again. So what we will have when we will integrate it again? We will have the component of displacement by now. So the component of displacement will be, let's say this is the x dash only, and the x dash will be equals to g omega cos of lambda. This is again get the t cube over 3 plus again an integration constant c. Let's say this is the c1 by now. So we are subjected to find out the value of c1 again. So we will use the concept same again at the initial point. Okay, let's say at the point when t is equals to 0. So when t is equals to 0, let's say this is the x dash here, and let's say this is the c dash by now. I think we need some more workspace here, and we should go for the workspace whenever it is needed. Okay, so now we are again subjected to talk about that if this particle is at this position, at the initial position at time t, at time t is equals to 0, when it is at initial position, the height coordinates you can say as at this position, we are talking about only this particular displacement, the x dash only. Yes, we are talking about the x dash here. So the coordinates of height, the coordinates of displacement will be saying at the 0, 0 and h. 0 for the x dash axis, 0 for the y dash axis, and h for the z dash axis. Okay, the x is saying this is the z dash axis actually, and this is the x dash axis. Okay, so we got the displacement for the for the z axis only, but not for the x axis and for the y axis both. So what we will have at t is equals to 0, x dash will be 0, x dash will be 0, and when x dash is equals to 0 and t is equals to 0, then certainly you can say that c dash will again equals to 0. So you can write this equation can be written as this equation, which is the x dash here, this can be written as g omega cos of lambda over 3, this is t cube here. Okay, this is the displacement x dash. So this is the displacement which has been occurring here. We got the value of displacement here. Okay, let's say this is the equation 4 by now. Okay, so this is the equation 4. Okay, this is the displacement when this particle will fall off completely. Okay, when the particle will fall off completely, then displacement occurs is that. We got the component of velocity, which is the v dash here. We go talk about the dx dash over dt. We talk about also the d 2x dash over dt square. So we got all the components of acceleration, the component of velocity, and now we got the component of displacement here, the displacement which has been termed as the x dash here. So we got the value of x dash also. Okay, so these the equation 2, 3 and 4, these 4 equations are important according to this topic which has been running right now. Okay, so when you end up with this equation, I hope you will be awarded for a question which has been asked about 3 marks, you will be awarded saying as the 2.5 marks here. Okay, so you got the question which is you got the complete answer till here, but we left something here. Let's say if the particle is at time t, at time t is equals to t. Okay, we will talk about only a certain time, a certain instant of time. So let's talk about what will happen when the particles will be at a time t in between there. Okay, so let's talk about the time taken. We need to talk about this value t here also. If the particle is at if the particle is at height h, then the time taken for the particle to fall completely. So what should be the value of time by now? Okay, let's say the time is small t here, and you remember that time will be equals to, you remember the concept of displacement. Okay, velocity is equals to displacement upon time, so you can say that time is equals to displacement upon velocity. So the displacement must be said that the displacement is h here. Okay, h is the whole displacement which has been travelled again in time t. So you can say that this is the h here, but also the particle is subjected to go here and then came back. So the total displacement you can say is the 2h here, because the particle must go to a height, then it will fall off. It is nothing like that the particle is already at that height. No, nothing can have a height h above the ground, because the gravitational pull will attract certainly all the things. So you can say that the particle initially was at ground, then it has been pulled up at a height h, and then it's again fall off. So the total distance is the 2h here, and the gravity was continuously working even when the particle has been lifted up and even when the particle has been fell off freely. Okay, the velocity is working for both the time. I mean to say that the gravitational pull is keeps on working for all the times, even when the particle has been pulled up, and even when the particle has been set to fall freely here. So the 2h over g by now, yes, and this is all again at the 1 by half over the under the root. Okay, so that should be the total time here. Also g, which is the value of h here also. You remember the height can be written in the term saying this is the half gt square. You can say the time t will be equals to the half gt square there. Okay, so let's use this value of t in this equation for the equation 4. So let's find out what will happen here. Okay, we are going to use the value of we are going to use the value of t in the equation 4. Now from equation 4, the value of x dash will be equals to g omega cos of lambda over 3. This t cube is been written as 2h over g. This is a 3 by 2. It's a new equation here, and now we will say this 2 should be kept out of the bracket here. So this is the 2 cube, then the square can be put out of this whole thing here. So what it is by now, by solving, this is the 1 here, this is the 1.5. So we will terminate all these values, and what we will end up having, let's say this is the x dash, and x dash will be equals to by now 2 by 3 omega cos of lambda, and the thing remains is 2h over g, and the power remains the 1 by 2 here, because the 1g is been cancelled out of this g here. Okay, the power which is the 1 here, the 3 by 2 can be written as 1 plus 1 by 2. So writing it as the 1 plus 1 by 2, you will end up having that answer. For your reference, let me write this answer, this particular answer here. The value of x dash that becomes by now, right now, is the x dash, that is equals to 2 by 3 omega cos of lambda under the root 2h over g. This is the value which you are being subjected to come up with. I hope that you got the results here. If you got the results till here, you will be awarded the full marks for the question. Certainly this question has been asked for 2.5 marks certainly, and about 3 marks in some cases. So if you solve the question up to here, you will be awarded for the whole 3 marks here. Well, this is the displacement, and you know the displacement will be in the meters. Okay. Well, you need not to mention the units here, but this is only for your reference. Okay. So this total distance, which is the x dash here, this is the x dash. On which factor does this x dash depends? The x dash will certainly depend on few things. Saying the latitude here, which is the latitude lambda. Okay, the thing will depend on the latitude lambda here. Okay, this is the latitude lambda. Also, it will depend on something like that, which is the angular velocity. But you know that angular velocity will remain constant throughout the process, because angular velocity doesn't change if you got the particle at any height, that doesn't matter, because earth will keep on rotating with the same rotation. Earth will continuously rotate with a constant velocity. That's why the days and night and these are equals, and that's all what happens. So the angular velocity of earth always remains the same, which is about 64,000 miles per hour. So this is it, and that's all. But it depends certainly directly on the value of h here. The g will again remains constant. You know that the gravitational pull, the gravitational effect always remains constant. There is no change in the gravity, either when your particle is at any position or at any height. That doesn't matter for the gravity will remain the same. The thing that only you can change only 2 things here. Which one is the lambda, the latitude angle lambda, and the height h here. When the latitude lambda is maximum, then the displacement will be 0. When it is 90 degree, then cos of lambda will be equals to 0, so there will be no displacement. Whenever the latitude angle is the minimum, the latitude angle, when the latitude angle is minimum, so for that the displacement will be maximum, or it directly depends on the height. When the height is higher, for the higher height, the displacement will be more. Okay, so this is it. When the value of h is higher, if this value is up to somewhere there, then this value will increase. Okay, so this is the only thing which is subjected to be understood. I hope that you got the concept here. Now we will talk about the concept for a particle which is being thrown upward and then it falls downward. Okay, before starting the new topic here, let me be aside. You can take a screenshot for your reference, and then we will proceed with the new topic here. I hope that this is enough time for a screenshot. I hope that you got your screenshot pretty much well here. Okay. So we need the workspace for a new topic, so I think that we should clear this off. And I hope that you got no doubt here until here, because we have talked about each and every point which has been important for this topic. Everything is explained with all the minimal approach, for the minimal approach, even the smallest topics which is subjected to know to you, that is not subjected for me to talk about here. Okay. Well, the paper mechanics, your first paper, is not so difficult. If you got the things in this way, if you got to know that what you are subjected to calculate and how the things will lead you step by step, then you can solve the question very much well, and the paper can be solved more than half. It can be solved about the third quarter of the paper. And if you are trying to get a percentage, then mechanics will give you a certain approach. You can get the full marks out of this paper. For the rest of the paper, saying for the ED, which is literally difficult than this paper, not so difficult but difficult than this one. And the optics is again something which is only to ruin your head. Yes, it will come out everything from your head and then find out that who you are. That is the paper is optics thing. Okay. Mechanics is not so difficult paper. Every average student can get passed through it, but with the concept, as more you write the concept, you will be awarded for the clear marks here. So let's talk about the effect of Coriolis force on bodies thrown vertically upward from Earth. Effect of Coriolis force on bodies thrown vertically upward from Earth. Okay, so let's find out the effect of Coriolis force on the bodies. We will use the results which have been discussed for the previous topic, and then we will combine them together, and let's find out a new concept here. This time the initial velocity will not be 0. You need some amount of velocity to pump up the particle. Okay, so the initial velocity will certainly have some value. This is the different concept here. This is the only difference from the previous concept. And for the downward falling case, it will be all the same. We will use the results only. We do not go through the whole calculation that we have gone through for the previous topic here. Okay, so let's begin with the topic here. If any particle which has been thrown upward with the initial velocity, let's say the u is the initial velocity, and saying that when every body which has been thrown vertically upward, what happens exactly? When you throw anything upward, you need to apply some pressure or apply some velocity to it. So it should be gone in this way. If you are going to throw something upward, you need some pressure. Also, you need some velocity there, then something is there to pull it towards downward. So, what is it? It is the gravitational acceleration or the gravitational field or the gravitational force, you can say. The gravitational force will keeps on attracting it. So, what happens after some instant of time? What happens? It will certainly stop at a height and then it will fall back again. It stops at a height and then it will fall back again. That's all because of the gravity here. Okay. So, we will consider both the cases here, the case for the gravity and the case for the initial velocity. So, what should be the velocity of the particle? Let us say which is the v dash is when a body of mass m and being thrown vertically upward with an initial velocity, let's say which is u here, with an initial velocity u from a certain point of earth for a certain place, wherever, it can be thrown whenever, because you played cricket in some sort of the catching practice and something like that, at any place, that does not matter. If it has been thrown at the equator, if it has been thrown in the northern hemisphere only, or it has been thrown in the southern hemisphere, there is no boundaries like that. You can these things will apply for all the objects and all the massive objects and from all the places of the earth. You can throw it from every place, each and every place, whatever you like to. Okay, that has the initial velocity u here, body of mass m and being thrown vertically upward with an initial velocity u, and after t second. Now, after t seconds, the velocity of the body will be after t time. Let's say this is the v dash here. So, the v dash will be equals to, the direction is again which is the k cap, and when you are throwing upward, when you are throwing anything upward, so what exactly happens is you are throwing the thing into the positive z direction. So, when you are throwing anything into the positive z direction, so the unit vector associated with it is the positive k dash cap. Okay. So, that will be, the v dash will be equals to k dash cap, and the initial velocity was u here, and everything that is been thrown vertically upward certainly gets some d acceleration just because of the gravity. So, I also consider the concept which is the gt here. Okay. This is the gravitational velocity, that should be minus here, and let us say this is the equation 1, and we will use this equation for our further calculation there. Okay. So, every time when a body is being thrown vertically upward, we cannot say that if the body is going straight, certainly it will have some latitude there. Certainly it will have some latitude there, because for the earth surface, let me draw you a figure here again. Every time when you are surface on the earth, if you remember the previous figure, this is the O here, and if you are situated somewhere here, so the angle of latitude will form automatically here. That is been formed automatically here. You are throwing the thing vertically upward from your position. You see that you are throwing the thing, let's say this is the 90 degree according to you, but in actual practice, this thing is been thrown within latitude. The latitude you say is the latitude lambda here, because we will use the angle lambda, and whenever you are going through your this experimental setup, that does not matter if it has been winter or it has been cold or it is in summer, that does not matter here. The thing will always remain the same, one thing, which is the angular velocity. Okay, let us say this is the angular velocity omega here. the angular velocity omega will always remains the same. Okay, that doesn't going to change here. So let me draw a reference diagram here, and for this time let's say this is the positive x direction. We are running out of ink by now, so I am changing the marker by here. Let's say this is the positive x dash direction, and the body is being thrown vertically upward. This is the positive z dash direction. Okay, we got the two positive directions here, and the body is being thrown from the x axis towards the z dash axis. So let's say if the velocity is being thrown here from here, and it is being thrown at to this height, and then it fall back towards a point. This has been thrown to a height and then it will fall back towards a point. Let's say the point is somewhat here, and this is again the displacement. Let's say this is displacement is x dash, and now we are again subjected to calculate this displacement, which has been which is the small x dash here. We will find out this displacement for this example. Let's say this height is h and the initial velocity is u here. So let's find out what we have here. We will use this equation. The equation 1 is here for the angular velocity. So now the angular velocity we will going to write the angular velocity from the concept of Coriolis force, which we have discussed for the previous examples. So what it should be, let's say this is the omega here, this is the angular velocity. So the omega vector will be equals to j dash cap omega cos of lambda plus k dash cap omega sin of lambda. This is equation 2. We need both of these equations because we are going to talk about the concept of Coriolis force again. So using the Coriolis force, which is the Fc, that is equals to minus 2 omega cross V. So let's talk about the Coriolis force acting on the body. Now the Coriolis force acting on the body is one thing that you got from all the topics common is we are going to use this equation again and again. So you can get this equation yourself, keep it in mind, remember it, because we will going to use this equation as it was you just subjected to know only this particular equation. If you get to know that how this equation come up with, I hope that you can calculate all the calculation, then all the calculation will be easier for you. Okay. So let's talk about the concept of Coriolis force, which is the Fc, that is equals to minus 2m omega cross V here. Okay, so let's get it. Minus 2m. This is you say is the I dash cap. This you say is the j dash cap, and this is the k dash cap here. For the I dash cap, the component associated is 0. For the omega, I am talking about only the omega here. This is the omega cos of lambda, and that is omega sin of lambda. Okay. 0 for the I dash cap, 0 for the j dash cap. The component exists only for the k dash cap, which is the u minus gt here. Okay. So let's talk about what should be the value of Coriolis force by now. Let me be aside. You can take a quick screenshot because I am going to erase this. We do not need it any longer. This is something to keep it in mind. Okay. So the value of Coriolis force, which is the Fc, I am writing only the result here. This will exist only for the I dash cap, none other than the I dash cap minus I dash cap 2m u minus gt u minus gt omega cos of lambda. That should be the value of Coriolis force. So let's say this is the equation 3, because we will again going to use this value. Okay, we will again going to use this particular value for the equation 3 here. So let's talk about the values by this equation 3. What we will have here is the displacement of the body due to Coriolis force. This is the Coriolis force. So what did we get from equation 3? From above equation we can say that from above equation we can say that the Coriolis force acting on the body will displace object. In short, let's say this is the particle, will displace the particle westward direction. Okay, it will displace the particle in the west direction. You know that why it has been said to be west direction, because this is the minus I dash cap. Minus I dash cap, you know that the positive I dash is towards the east direction and the minus I dash is towards the west direction. That's why this figure is being drawn. Okay. Well, I drew this figure earlier just because I just wish that you can get a clear concept, but you are supposed to draw this figure after this calculation. Okay. When you got the equation 3, then you can draw this figure. Before this figure cannot be possible to draw, because you need an equation as a reference, then you can draw this figure. Okay. Okay, so we got the velocity, we got the direction here. So we will again going to use what it is, we will again going to use the Newton's second law. Using the Newton's second law, using Newton's second law, that you say is the m d2x dash over dt square, that is equals to minus I dash cap 2m u minus gt omega cos of lambda. Clear this m from this m. Okay, I think I need pretty much more workspace here. This particular figure is not so longer needed, and these equations are also needed no longer. Okay. So we got this equation here. So what we will calculate step by step, d2x dash over dt square, that is equals to the minus I dash cap to u minus gt here, this is u minus gt omega cos of lambda. Okay. So what we will do, we will just integrate this equation, because this is the acceleration only. We do not need acceleration, we need only two components, the component of velocity and the component of displacement. Okay. We just want to know that at what place if this particle will fall off and at which velocity it will came out to us. Okay, the average velocity here. Okay, so let's integrate the above equation. Let's say this is the equation 4 here. Integrating above equation. Okay, so when we are going to integrate this equation, let's say this t came out of this equation first. If you get this t out of this equation, what this equation will become? Let's say you come out this g out of this equation. So this equation will become saying that minus I dash cap to u minus g minus t g omega cos of lambda. Let's say this is equation 4 by now. So integrating above equation, what we will have? The simple thing is here, this is the dx over dt. So this is the dx over dt. The I dash cap will remains the same. Yes, the I dash cap will remains the same.